Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Greubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists.
It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hey everybody, it's Stacy Barnett from Canine Detection Collaborative, and I am here with my amazing co-hosts, Robin Greubel. Hello. And Crystal Wing.
Howdy, friends.
And we're doing a reflection episode this time. So for the last two episodes, hopefully you've tuned in, and if you haven't, just go back and listen. We interviewed, or actually I didn't interview. I listened in.
You were lurking.
I was lurking. Crystal and Robin interviewed Denise Fenzi, and we broke it into two episodes. And gosh, I've known Denise since, I took a class at Fenzi Dog Sports Academy. It was the very second session ever at the Fenzi Academy. And so I've known Denise, I guess, since, was that 2013, 12, 11? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's been a really long time. And so kind of figured, when we figured out like who was going to interview, I'm like, I'm going to listen in on this one. So it was a really great conversation. And Denise always has some really amazing thoughts and everything. And we're just going to do a little bit of reflection. So what were some of the big things that you guys kind of, like the big topics that maybe just kind of like got you thinking?
Find your compass.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was one that it was towards the very end, the second episode, I believe. And that's just such an important thing as a life skill beyond dogs, beyond everything else, but to find your compass. Because I got to spend a lot of time with her over the summer, and she's getting Zen ready for competition. And I keep getting little updates, and it's so much fun. Just kind of getting to see that journey, and both of us doing, the same sport. And I love to watch her interactions with people and the confidence that she has, because she knows her intention and she knows that she's willing to be vulnerable and change and be flexible. And so those are things that I've really learned and taken away from her as a friend and as a human. It's been a big impact on the way that I handle my dogs, my students in high school, in the dog world. So the find your compass and believe in yourself. That was something that was huge that the two of you have given me in getting me on this podcast even.
Screaming, I'm
yes.
So like, canine detection of two. I mean,
yeah.
How many?
No.
Detection duo sounds so good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Conversation was a lot.
Yeah, but it's about believing in yourself. And what I've really learned through her is you can believe in yourself when you're following your compass and your intentions are right. And that builds confidence, because she asked me a question once about what would it take to be confident? And I didn't really have an answer. And I feel like now I'm getting that answer more and more.
Yeah.
So, and that's huge. That's for training. That's for everything. Communication with others.
It's really interesting because the find your compass is, for me, very, very much speaks to what's your why.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only the what's your why, but in your dog training compass, we talk about a lot in this podcast about be fair to your dog.
Yeah.
And advocate for your dog. And Denise does a lot of that in how she trains, how she believes in being fair to her dog, what she's willing to do and not do in her training, how she believes that works. And I think we all have that internal compass that drives us on what we're willing to do or not do. And sometimes you can't project that you shouldn't project that onto other people. You can choose whether or not you want to train with other people.
Yep.
Right. And that's one of the things that I have found a whole lot in my world of the working dog planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have to be some of the things that happen. My dogs are a whole different level of crazy nuts. And management's a whole different level of management.
Yeah.
And sometimes but I also know when too far is too far and I can't go that place. And I draw a line and I'm like, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you have to cross that line and then you have to go back and you're like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not going there again. So that you're right, Crystal, that find your compass was really profound.
I've known Denise for a long time, and she's probably one of the most, and I'm trying to figure out like the right words. Like one of the things that kind of comes to mind is it emotionally mature or something? She's just always seems to, and maybe it's just how that her own compass.
Logical. She's always logical.
She's logical, but there is a true fairness in there. And you can see that, like, and there's just an immense amount of respect that she pays to other people and pays to herself and to her dog. And you see that it literally is not lip service, right? Like she speaks about it, but this is really how she runs her life, how she runs the academy. And I think that conversation about find your compass is just kind of like a piece of that.
One of the things that it reminds me of, it's funny because I see her a lot doing things when she does webinars and stuff. She seems to sit in this big cozy chair, right?
Uh-huh.
And in my brain, I have that she sits in that big cozy chair a lot and does a lot of self-reflection. I don't know if that's true or not, right? And then she goes walking on this wonderful ranch and probably does a lot of self-reflection. And the way that she talks, and she is very self-aware.
Yes, that's a really good way of describing it.
I think that that's one of the things I really appreciate is because when she talks about this stuff, she's talking about this stuff and it's not lip service because she sat down and she's thought about it.
Yeah.
And you can tell not only has she thought about it, but she's also talked it through at least 4 or 5 times with somebody else before she's talked through it with us.
That's the beauty about an ADHD brain is you have 4 or 5 inside of you to talk to.
Truth. Yeah.
And I kind of want to make for SARV community, I would love to just have a Find Your Compass, like entire merch line, because it really is about all of the things. You know, find your compass to find your people.
Yeah, right. I'm like picturing them. Like, I always have my compass.
Yeah,
on.
For the nav skills, but it's also about finding your compass for your dog, for yourself, for the people you work with. It's so many levels. And so I think that was the thing that I've really been kind of tickling my brain and pondering about and thankful for. How about you guys? What was your next topic? What stood out? Because I've got a whole bunch.
Well, go for it. Because I could talk about probably just anything that you... I mean, seriously.
Literally, I was like, oh my gosh, where do you want me to start? So you go.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So talking about supporting the dog, we were talking about matching law. And she was talking about how learning is a fragile place and that being correct was a reward in itself. Mm-hmm. And that when we break things down into pieces, that the pieces can all be solid, but people forget that when you put the pieces together, that transition in between the two pieces is something they have to learn, and it can be messy. And in that messiness, that's when we have to realize that not only are we fragile because we're trying to work through this, but the dog is also fragile, and that they're going to build their connections and they're going to build their confidence as they do things right. And I really agree and feel that when the dogs are right, they act it, they feel it, they know it,
Yep.
And whether it's because we're emoting it and we're so happy that they've done it right, I don't know. But that was another thing that I've been really thinking a lot about is we're worried so much about matching law and in the beginning of things being so clean and precise, and we can break all the pieces down. But when you put pieces together, there's no other way of teaching that without just doing it. And that can be messy.
It can be messy, and being messy is okay. It's
vulnerable and it's fragile. I like the word fragile that she used.
Yeah, I do.
And that's one of those things that I remember out training with Doug. Doug is my bird dog, one of my bird dog guys. And we were having a conversation because if you've ever really looked at some of the bird dog stuff, they are chains of complex behaviors that you're putting together in all of these things. And at one point, he looked at me and said, it's okay for a small section of the chain to be messy if the rest of the chain was perfect. And literally, it was like he picked up a dead duck and hit me over the head with it and said, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
And I went, oh.
Yeah.
Right? And so that for me was a learning moment that, okay, it can be a little squishy, sometimes. And we can work through it and it's okay. But the key thing is sometimes it can't be all the time.
Right. And to not be afraid of progressing.
Correct.
That's one of the things I kind of got out of the conversation with her. It's like, you can really kind of get into this paralysis that can inhibit, your training just because you're so afraid that it's not going to be perfect. Or if it's, I think she made a comment about like getting off of a platform, right? It's like you're afraid to kind of take that next step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think going along with that, she said something about within 5 repetitions, there should be some sort of gain.
Right.
And I hear that from Fanny Gott as well. She's another one that I really adore as a trainer. And she would say that within a minute of training, there should be some improvement.
Yeah.
And when we say some improvement, it doesn't have to be that it's necessarily behavioral. It can also be emotional. It can be the confidence level. There's a lot of different layers there, which takes me to what Denise said too about your video when you're recording and you watch back a video from 3 months ago, it should look dramatically different.
Right.
Agreed.
And that really tickles my brain because as a beginner dog, easily, I can see huge leaps, huge jumps. But now let's say that you have a fluent, seasoned dog doing their thing.
Okay.
What does that look like in 3 months? How does that look better? Because I think so many people look at that dog and go, they did everything right. They got first place. They did all the right things. And it's interesting listening to people like Petra Ford, who's like taking first in all the obedience. And her posts, I love reading how thoughtful her posts are because she's so good about breaking down all the things that she saw. You would never know that she took first and second with both of her dogs in almost every trial. Like you would think that she's somewhere down in the ranks because she's seeing all the things that she wants to improve and wants to do better. And so that's, I think, when you really see that you have improved, when you can watch your video from 3 months ago and know what to look for even in what's improved, especially with the dog that knows their stuff.
Yeah, it's really that value of self-reflection, right? And being able to really kind of look at what you're doing with a really, really critical eye.
Yes. Critical,
but not like
harsh.
Exactly. That's what I was kind of trying to go towards, because we can get into like this thing where it's all negative and it actually impacts our self-perception.
What's that called? There's a word for that. How we are. Oh my God, words. I'll think of it like 2 a.m. Like we already have a propensity to look for all the negative. There's a saying for that, expression for that. Anyway, sorry. I figured you just know it.
No. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean.
We're wired that way to look for negative.
Right, exactly. And I talk to a lot of my students about this, where I want them to be, and actually I do this a lot in my homework assignments where I want them to be reflective. And every so often I see a student where it's just like, they write out and I'm like, whoa, that's not the assignment I wanted, because I didn't want you to come out with the outcome of like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. And I should just like hang up my leaf or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't the purpose of this. The purpose of this is to understand where are the pieces you can start to improve on, but not in a way that makes you feel bad about it. I mean, we need to be able to see these moments and be able to reflect in a way that it energizes us, that excites us. Like, oh, wow, I found this thing that now I can work on and now I can get excited about. And now I can really kind of hone in on this one piece. And if we're so programmed for that negative, right, we can't see that because we just start to think like I'm horrible. And without saying like, if I just kind of tweak this one little thing, it's just going to be incredible. You know what I mean?
So what keeps you going? Because that's something I've been curious about. So like Denise is not a competitive person. She doesn't like to take her dog and compete. Like she'll do the thing because she wants to see where her training is. Like you like to compete, I would assume.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I do. I like to do well. Let me put it that way. If I compete and I feel like I didn't perform the way that as a team that we could have, I don't feel great about that. I didn't enjoy that at all. And it really has to do with kind of my, when I compete, I have a vision of how I want to perform with my dog. And if we didn't meet that, then I'm not disappointed ever with the dog. I'm like, what is going on with my training or with my own handling in that day? Why are we off? That's not fun. When it comes together, yeah, I love it. But yeah, I mean, that's but do I enjoy it? Yeah, I mostly enjoy it.
Yeah, I just always wonder like the drive. So like we look at, okay, so your recent post I saw about powder, it was like the last 4 summits. It was like first place, second place, first place.
Oh, it wasn't the last
place.
4 though. She's done more than 4. I mean, she missed a couple, but when she's a go big or go home. It's like when we go big, we go big. Yeah, although honestly, like we haven't really hit like a go home, but she's just like, what excites me about her, and I guess this is where when we talk about like what drives us, it's the exhilaration with her specifically, of working with her and just feeling that connection in that in-drive state with a dog that is a very high drive dog that is so committed to finding that hide. It is literally like, it is a rush. It's a rush working her. And it's just, that's what's exciting for me. And to see her, she's so like, she just throws her whole like being into her work. And it to me, it's just, I can't.
So knowing that you're at the top of the game with her.
Yeah.
When you think about 3 months from now, do you have a way of kind of setting in your mind of this is what I want to see us doing, either skill-wise, emotion-wise? So thinking about that in 3 months, if I watch my video back, is that something that you set forward when you're thinking about this? Because that's something I always wonder about when people are at the top of their game, and that's why I brought Petra up, because like you said, she's not harsh.
No.
It's very, very matter of fact and very gracious in what she says and what she wants to work on, and even being at the top again. So that's why I was just kind of curious.
Yeah. And, I think like if I, for like, again, kind of reflect on powder, like, so she won the Coming Georgia Summit, and coming out of that, there were definitely pieces where I'm like, yep, these are some things that we had misses on, because she won it, but we still had things that I felt like I really needed to work on. And for me, what I try to do then is to evaluate, why did that happen? Because my goal is to reduce those instances over time. And then I see like really amazing glimmers out of her. Like we had this big band area cert, this big band room, 2 huge band rooms. And then there was this little room off to the side. We go in there, and for a dog that works at the speed that she works at, and she was at the high end of her arousal, like both days. she goes in that room and hits 3 close proximity hides. Boom, boom, boom. Like for me, I just got this big, huge smile on my face because it was just amazing. But then we go in, we had this courtyard search and we missed a hide. And I knew we missed a hide because we had a range and the range was 3 to something else. And we found 2. So I'm like, coming out of there, I'm like, well, we missed a hide there at least. One. And going back, I'm watching my videos. And this is the reason why I'm so big on videoing whenever, I'm searching at a trial. I'm going back and I'm like, why did I miss that hide? And I realized there was a moment that I misread the information she was giving me. And I need to really study what happened there. And it also tells me that I need to work. She's getting really good at close proximity, but we need to do that in areas where there's a lot of circular air movement because we were in a courtyard and there was a lot of wind. And so that's the type of thing when I do a lot of self-reflection, I'm looking at those pieces. Now, all of our searches, see, that's the thing is like every time we go to a search at a summit, like the next summit, all the searches are going to be different. Like we're going to have different challenges. But if I feel like over time that our teamwork starts to come together and that our arousal for her and managing her arousal, and like this is a personal goal, is to try to keep her at that upper range, the upper part of her range, but still very, very effective. Like if I can kind of keep her there and keep her super effective, like that's a real win for me. Those different things, there's a lot of different skills I still want to build on with her. So 3 months, I don't know if it's going to be 3 months or maybe 6 months, but
and I think the thing for people to think about when you start talking about looking at yourself, it may not be for that advanced dog that you're looking at yourself at the 3-month mark and there's a significant difference. It might be at that 6-month mark because you're making minor tweaks.
They're minor. They're very minor.
To a very specific skill set.
Yeah.
That is part of a bigger skill set because, okay, guys, what Stacy's talking about are in their essence fundamental skills, but they're advanced applications of fundamental skills.
Right.
And so when we start thinking about all of those things, I think of where I'm at with some of my dogs in their different skill sets. Nico's an advanced dog, but I am always working on latency with him on offering his trained final response, fundamental skill.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where we're at, it differs, but that's always a fundamental skill I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I was back watching videos of when we first started doing box work.
Wow.
I know, like the second time was ever on odor. And I'm watching myself train and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, somebody needs to shoot me.
That's me with like all of my old training videos. And when I run a class, let's say it's been like maybe 3 years since I've run the class. And I'm looking at the lectures. I'm like, oh, I can't share that. No,
I actually shared this video.
Oh, that's awful. No, I can't do that.
I shared the video with somebody and I'm like, and you guys need to tell me when I should have stopped. Because wow. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, yes, you should. And just so everybody knows, that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I keep telling people I learn a whole lot of stuff. But then I also realized as I'm standing out in the middle of the field with Flash, I'm still doing some of the exact same mistakes. And I'm like, okay, we can't run to a cone 500 times. Because I think it's fun and exciting.
Right.
Because she can do it. She's like, dude, Mom, I'm stuffed. I can't do it for a cookie anymore, even though I am a fat Labrador pickle. So it's one of those things that, yes, you should. But like Petra talks about, I can watch a video of me doing something and pick apart 500 different mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Easily. And it's okay.
Yeah.
When I look at a student, I'm like, what is going to be the most impactful thing
Yes.
that I can share with them
Yes.
that will help them the most?
Right. Right. You're not telling them each and everything that they need.
No, it's the most impactful thing.
Exactly. Like I'm looking at video feedback and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is the one thing I want you to focus in on. I think that's the value
Right.
of experience and structure, though.
And the other thing, though, is I always love it when students post a video and they do a critique and they're like, Robin, I can already tell you're going to say this. And I'm like,
yes.
Thumbs up for you. Now I don't have to critique it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the thing that I do like that she also pointed out that in the 3 months, it doesn't necessarily have to be the skill, but it could be the demeanor. I think that was the word that she
Yes.
used. Mm-hmm. And that was a really insightful thing that I hope people hear, that when you watch things back, maybe watch it for the skills and the behaviors, but also watch it for the emotional and demeanor side of it.
Yes.
Because that's going to be, I think, more important in a lot of ways to see how you are handling things and how your dog was handling things.
I would love somebody to watch videos of me now doing healing with the dog. I bet they would be shocked.
Oh, I know. And I'm like, I actually enjoy healing now, which is...
I know.
Well, I mean, Crystal, oh my God. I mean, you helped me from like day one. And now, like, I was just kind of like, just waiting my turn. Like I trialed the day with Prize and I was next up and we were standing in the snow and she'd already peed. And I just said, Foos. She popped up, like did this flip in the heel and like looked at me and her eyes like bugged out. Like, I talk about like demeanor, right? And I'm like, I had that on video. It was, yeah, it's actually fun now. And
who knew?
I know.
Right?
I'm going to raise my hand on that one.
I know.
Right.
I've been the one the whole time saying, obedience is fun. Obedience is fun.
What's wrong with you?
Next, you'll be doing footprint tracking.
Well, you have tried to start me on that, and I just haven't followed through on it yet.
Once you see how much fun it is and you watch your dog learning and they're just so good at it, it's very reinforcing.
I'm interested. It comes right now. There's a time bandwidth, but yes, I am absolutely interested in that. And Brava was like really getting into it. So,
but I really did love the whole comment of doing something for 5 repetitions of something.
Yeah.
And if you've done it for 5 times and you're not seeing a change.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Something which really goes back to something I really tell people. If you want your dog's behavior to change, you have to change yours first.
Yes.
And that was a really, really good example of, okay, you know what? We've done this for 5 times and the dog hasn't changed. Nothing in the demographic of it has changed. Something needs to change. What's going to change? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. So let's not do it 5 more times and see what happens.
Well, then there's also you do it 5 times. And at what point does it become just like rote practicing?
Correct.
Versus actually training? It is sometimes because I've got, especially with NW 101, which I'll be teaching, by the way, which is a little bit of a plug, starts February 1st. Introduction to nose work. A lot of times, there's a lot of different steps I give people. And I see sometimes people repeating the step over and over and over and over and over. And I'm like, you have to stop after a few repetitions because I think sometimes the dog is like, well, I've done it this many times. I guess I'm doing something wrong. And you start to see they start adding in.
Right.
Stuff, right?
How many times am I going to have to tell you that 2 + 2 = 4 before I start asking, are you sure?
You're right. Exactly. Is it really 5? Yeah, exactly.
That's why I always get on to how many show me's are you going to do with your cadaver dog?
That's where I was going with it. There's so many times that somebody will have their dog do the correct behavior, and then they're like, show me again. Show me again. It's like the dog just keeps like, stop, please stop. You're hurting me at this point.
I know.
Yeah. At what point was your dog to be like, are you not satisfied? Was that not good enough? And usually things go downhill. They don't usually get better. They get worse.
Correct.
Why do you think it is that people can't have the one and done? Like the dog goes in, the dog does it correctly. There's nothing that can be better. Why do people have the need to do it again?
Them feeling awesome as a trainer because they want to show off their trick pony.
I also wonder if it's some of the...
No. I'm wondering. I'm like, is it that?
But I also wonder with homework at school. I'm 46 years old, so put that to whatever you want. I remember having to do the same drill kind of work as part of my schooling. So it's the multiplication table and it's the addition.
But do they still make them do multiplication tables?
I don't know. But just the concept, though, that they do still
Do you
make you
remember
drill a
learning
lot.
cursive? Do you remember learning cursive and you had those little...
Yeah, they don't teach that anymore.
I
Right.
know. They should. So you're like trying to draw the A and then they're trying to get
I don't think they make them do multiplications.
But that was just an example. But I'm just saying, in general, a lot of what
it's rote memorization
is that you have to do the same thing over and over and over again in order to make it stick. And what we now know is that that's not necessarily the truth.
Correct.
That's not best practices. And so a lot of the teachers are not doing that now. But I think in my generation, especially, that was how it was done. It was a lot of repetition. Do the same thing over and over, and that way it sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's just a matter of that foundation that they have. And so they think that's how their dog has to learn as well. And that's something that I feel like would be such a great improvement that we could do, would be to share more learning theory and share what best practices are now that we know, about the brain. It's changed so much, even in the last couple of years, as to what really makes it stick.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like just repetition is the same. You're just...
Well, it goes into...
Yeah.
There's the idea of muscle memory. It's like, well, it's muscle memory. Well, that's not a thing. No.
It's one of those things where I understand what they mean by muscle memory, which is they're actually talking more about stimulus control, right? The presentation of the stimuli means do this thing. But there's also then a consequence that happens after that, which is reinforcement or whatever you're looking for. And there has to be enough consequences on whether they're positive or negative to make all of that happen. But bad training, still bad training.
I think that's a way. We know that Denise is an influencer and people listen to her. And then I thought, you know what? People kind of listen to us too. And so wouldn't it be cool if maybe that's an angle of something that we could approach, that we all see it. We all see that there's this need for people to repeat and to drill. Maybe that's something that people can hear us talk about learning theory and what we now know, and that's not necessary and it's actually detrimental.
I'm feeling pessimistic on that. I hate to say it because it's such human nature to just want one more.
It's really awesome when you can have one excellent and one big party.
I'm with you. And
I am with you. Yes.
I really, really try to do that myself. I'm just skeptical, I guess.
Because we spent all this time setting all this stuff up.
Yeah.
And then how can we just let it be that it was a short problem and they did the thing and it was perfect? Like we spent more time setting it up and thinking about it than they did doing it.
Yeah. Like how could it have been, wow, you got that already? What a letdown.
That can't be done now. We got to do some more.
Right.
That's where obedience is so fun. And then you can just go do some obedience and you can reward the heck out of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're overlooking the fact at the point that the trainers get reinforced because they get to watch their dog do the behavior.
I think it's that.
Right?
Yeah.
That's I love watching my dog do the behavior that I have been training them to do, this very complicated chain of behavior.
Oh,
Search,
yeah.
find,
Yep.
report,
Yep.
go to the cone and sit,
Mhm.
go, stop, go for the cone, whatever, go pick up the bird, bring it back, do the perfect square, whatever, the whole
Yeah.
chain, right?
Mhm.
You do it perfectly. And my first instinct is, let's do it again. Because I want to watch it because it was so freaking pretty. Instead of just stop, it was pretty, be done. Because no, I want to relive it again because it makes me have all of those little happy endorphins because I am an amazing trainer.
Just got to record it and then watch it back.
I know, right? But the freaking phone is always dead.
So I'm picturing prizes refined. Like when you're getting all excited about that, I get excited when she runs back to me and goes splat, elbows on the ground. I'm like, that was pretty, right?
Right. And nobody else gets to see it.
Well, my flanker or whatever. And I even said on the last one, I'm like, that was pretty. I even said that out loud. Like that was like, she just went splat, right? And it's one of those things. The nice part about a refined is I do get to see it several times.
Yes.
So pick a sport or a behavior that you can
Do that with, right?
And I get to legitimately say, show me, which is kind of cool.
Right. I think that's the reinforcement part that for us is we want that affirmation that we're a fantastic trainer. And if we get cue the dog and they do it 2 or 3 more times, we forget that we're taxing our animal.
And we're probably proving it wasn't a fluke and all of the things.
I mean, whatever justification we need to internally make our brain think that we're doing, that's okay, whatever. But we just need to just have the internal fortitude to go, no, one and done.
It's interesting. It's like, when you have one of those like really kind of crappy sessions, because let's face it, we all have those.
Which make you want to go drink? Yep.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The one and done is kind of, and when you see that your criteria all come together and the first thought is that was pretty, right? That's they're kind of like the polar opposite feelings. And I think sometimes when we have those really crappy feelings, when we have like a really nice one, that just kind of offsets it. And I'm wondering if we are in our mind or in our psyche, whatever, trying to change the balance of that. And I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, right? Maybe by asking for something else, we're trying to change the balance of like, well, I had that crappy thing yesterday. And
I got another theory too. We like to control things.
Yes.
And so in that need of control, and I think Denise said too, she was like, you can't get more than 100% and you can't have control all the time and you can't control another being.
Right.
And so when we see them do something that we taught them and they don't speak our language or different species, like we've controlled this, we've created this. So it does tap into that for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean the type A women thing? Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and I will tell you after going through the, oh my God, let's do it again thing, right? Oh, that reminds me. I still have a training aid sitting out in the brick wall. But anyway, I literally, it's just a bullet. So I can go out and pick it up. It's not a big deal. But I literally was trying to train something the other day and got really, really frustrated and was just like, we're done.
Yeah.
And I stopped and I was like, look at me make an adult trainer decision.
Yeah.
You look around and you're like, I'm the adultiest adult here.
I know. I'm like,
maybe alone, but
it's me and Flash. So we're good.
Yeah.
And I made a trainer phone call and and she was the last one to get trained. And all of us went in the house and I sat down and had a cup of tea and had a trainer. It was literally phone a friend. I actually had the conversation because I'm trying to teach her how to do right and left on a verbal cue. Her stimulus control on her sit is so strong that when I throw a cookie, she will not get out of her sit to follow the cookie.
Wow.
So we had to have the discussion of how does the verbal cue with the verbal release followed by the physical lure, what is the sequencing of all of that have to be in order to make sure that what it's in? It was entertaining.
Speaking of phone a friend, that takes me back to another part of part one of the conversation about problem solving and being creative.
Yes. Watching her stuff online, I was like,
Oh my God. Yes.
Never would have thought of that.
And it's such cool ideas that you can take across so many different places. And she shares so freely. But, you guys have dealt with me. I've had a huge problem with Radish wanting to just go and roll in everything disgusting. And I was reaching out to everybody. I'm like, okay. And then I reached out to Denise on it. And that's when I feel like we really hit some good problem solving ideas, because it's not something that she deals with necessarily.
Right.
But it's just a problem. It's a fun problem to solve, and that's how we kind of approached it. And I was coming from it pretty defeated and feeling like, if this is how it's going to be, can we even be successful at this point? Because she's doing her job, yes, but she can't be getting sidetracked that much. And it's so aversive to me that every time we go out, I'm having to clean, like the last time was intestines off of her collar. Like, that's not okay. I just, and you do a collar give and you're like, now it's on my hand.
No.
So training became very aversive to the point that I didn't want to do it anymore. And I know that's not a foreign problem. Like, I know a lot of dogs, I'm asking my dog not to be a dog. When they're set free off a leash to go sniff the world and go find the odor that I want them to find, she goes right back to work. It's just like, nope, I got to drop my shoulder and roll in this as hard as I can all over the top of my head and my collar and my shoulder. And then I'll go right back to doing what I'm supposed to do. And I want to lose my ever-loving mind.
I remember.
Oh, yeah, it was rough. It was so rough. And to be able to have different people to problem solve and to be able to think outside of even like within the area that I train, that was something really helpful to have her for that.
Yeah. It was interesting to kind of see like some of the ideas that she's come up with, like just even like the searching for a decoy, right? And he was searching for a suit and like all these things, like you just don't even really, I mean, even if she said that she might do things differently, but just the different ideas and different, just not being afraid of trying something new. I think that's something that we can kind of take away from that creativity. I think sometimes people are afraid to be creative.
I would love to have her and Yen sit down and talk, because they're such great training brains.
That could be fun.
But they are so different in how they think, because he's so much of just behavior and she's so much of the emotional side mixed with the behavior. And they're so opposite in so many ways. And it was such a contrast, because I feel like when I train with Robin and having her as my mentor in foundation, it's very much behavior.
Right.
And then going in and spending a summer with Denise, it was so much emotion. And then with Joe as well, Joe Huxell, it's very much the emotion side. And it's putting that together is so interesting. We were talking about even we reward mistakes and it keeps the behavior momentum going. And if you said that to Jens, I think he'd maybe like, I don't know.
Have a seizure.
I don't know. That sounds too violent for him.
Yes. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Even me, I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, I can't do that.
I'm rewarding mistakes all the time now. And it has made such a huge difference, because it's not about that behavior in that moment. It's about the flow of the entire exercise, the flow of the entire session. So for instance, her latest one was she was at Ring Club and the dog tipped the jump and she rewarded it. And the dog tipped the jump again. And they're like, what in the hell are you doing? You can't reward that. And then guess what happened on the third approach? He got the jump beautifully. So do you think that the dog, because they're getting the reward, is really making that connection that is the only way that it's right? So by rewarding, you're rewarding the behavior momentum to keep them in the game, to keep wanting to do the thing. So it's a different way, I think, that you have to think about it. And I think that it tickles people's brains a lot.
It does.
It's important to understand. And it's Joe Rosie talks about a lot in her academy too. But it's about looking at the overall session and knowing that you want to keep the behavior momentum going. So like Checkmate, he is a beautiful example of it. He outed so slowly and I threw him a party. And my training buddy was like, that wasn't very good. I'm like, that's okay. Watch the next one. And when I outed the next time, he outed so fast, perfection, and another big party. And they're like, that didn't make any sense. I'm like, how does it not make sense though? Because my dog now knows what's in it, knows that by outing correctly, this is what's going to happen. And it's worth this big party. And it was just such a beautiful thing.
I think Robin and I, both of our brains, I can see them.
Well, and I think that this depends on the dog.
Yeah.
Depends on the trainer and depends on the relationship that you guys have.
But it's behavior momentum. It's all dogs. It's all learning. Because if you're not,
that's not how behavior momentum works.
But it's effort. You're rewarding effort.
If I did that to Nico, I'd never get an out.
Yes, you would.
Okay.
For sure you would. For sure you would. That's where I think I made the mistake in helping you with Nico, because we did not reward some of those that were slower. And we should have rewarded those to get that momentum and to get the mindset right.
I reward them by a get it. He gets a larger reward for faster ones, but I don't ever play a huge party for slow ones.
And that's where you might think about it within a session. If you're working on outs within that session, try it.
My brain hurts.
Nope, not going to do it.
Where I also go though, this is a great little side debate, right? So
yeah,
I'm picturing, I see a lot of people, like if their dogs are struggling with something, they just start throwing cookies. And it's just like, at what point have you asked your dog to do something that's just too hard in that moment, and trying to assess, maybe I need to change my approach on how I train this, because the information that the dog is saying, I can't do it, means how it's being presented isn't going to help them to be successful. I guess that's where my head goes, because I see a lot of people like, the dog's not successful, they throw a cookie. The dog's not successful, they throw a cookie. And I don't see, a lot of times when I see that, I don't see the dog figuring it out. I see a lot of confusion.
And I'm thinking about behaviors they know and behaviors that in that moment they struggle with that behavior, but it's a behavior they can typically do or already know, are pretty fluent.
Because I'm talking about them trying to teach something and the dog's just like this is just, they're not going to make any progress that way.
So now in the teaching phase, which we already know is uncomfortable and it's already fragile, then I want to keep my learner in the game. So that might be a matter of, I'm going to toss a cookie to keep you in it because you did try.
But if you're doing that every other rep or something like that, that is back to you.
Now, here's what's also nice about that. It's punishing to me if I have to keep rewarding you for behaviors that you're not doing correctly. So what does that make me do? It makes me change what I'm doing to start making the dog successful.
Right.
So that's also part of it, because she made me do that last summer. Whoo! You talk about making me change fast. When she was like, if he does it wrong, you got to reward him. I'm like, no. She's like, no. You're going to reward him if he does it wrong. Oh, holy smokes. It makes you really aware of when they're wrong. Even more so than
you're down.
It's more so than telling him no. But that's the huge thing, though. It makes it even more prominent than saying no to the dog or correcting the dog in some, aversive way. Reward the dog instead and see how fast you change what you're going to do with your next rep.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's terrifying when you think about those single event learner dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So talk about changing our behavior. That's a really fast way of doing it.
Ooh.
Because you'll start to realize how much we lump, how much we expect of our dogs. And you really start to realize how many mistakes they make. Because again, we're programmed to find the negative already.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have to reward that. Woo!
Okay, ladies.
Yeah.
We could probably do a whole nother episode on takeaways from Denise.
Yeah, actually, really only talked about the last half.
I know.
That's okay. It'll come up in other days.
It will.
And I want to talk about how we solved our rolling in the dead stuff
Oh,
problem
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I didn't quite finish that. So I can do that another time or whatever.
Because people are going to be like, how did you do that? And they're going to want to know.
Do we have time? Can I do that?
Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do it in like a minute.
Okay, go.
So I realized that if we talk about the whole punishment model, I would say, let's go. So let's go meant whatever you were sniffing, let's go. Like continue doing the thing. And I realized when I taught that as a very positive thing of let's go. And I'd reward that with something thrown or coming to me to get something cool. But typically I would do something thrown because I wanted let's go to mean stop sniffing that thing, go explore, go have fun with this other thing, flirt pole, usually something like that. And somehow over this last year, it became let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens to everybody.
It's come. Like, no.
Yeah. And it started to lose what it was really built on. It was really built on let's go, which is you're doing that thing, but there are better things coming. And so I went back to the foundation of teaching, let's go. And I took it completely out of any searching, any odor work. And it just became, again, let's go became this happy thing of she would start to sniff something and she was far enough away from me. I'd bust out the flirt pole or I'd bust out a really fun toy and I'd throw that thing and have a huge party. And let's go now had that, wonderful feeling. Now my fear was, and it happens because it's a moment in time and fragile in learning, is that when I would say, let's go, she absolutely cues on me. And so she's coming toward me. And I thought in search work, I don't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2 searches. It was, let's go. And she flew away, which I know now that small area did not get covered.
Mm-hmm.
But that's information for me. I can send her right back into there to look and search in that area. Plus, she's happy that she gets to go back in that stinky area where that dead thing is, but she doesn't roll on it now.
Yay!
Wow.
So you know what, you guys? Let's go.
Awesome.
So it's letting go of my fear of getting her to be too independent on me and too much focused on me and not working independently away from me. I had to let go of that fear.
Right.
To get through that fragile learning phase. And it was just a simple let's go, which is, just that's foundation to everything we do.
Dog training is simple, but not easy.
Okay, Bob.
I know. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's a Marion thing.
Oh, really? They credit to Bob Bailey.
Which,
Oh, yeah.
Right. And actually, it probably came from somebody probably even before Marion or Keller. So,
yeah. So speaking of all the things coming up.
Oh, yes.
Poll, I mentioned that. I have a webinar on that. Woo woo. I'm really super excited about that.
Woohoo. Anything else?
Lots of seminars. Oh my gosh, so many seminars. They all start in June.
They start in June. Okay. Are people going to have a website that they can start going to look at for your stuff?
That'd be a great idea.
Okay. So maybe
that's a spring break project.
April-ish. Okay. Check that out. All right. Stacy.
Well, term starts February 1st. So I've got 3 classes, intro to nose work. I've got hide placement, which has a ton of scent theory in there and basically purposeful training, purposeful hide placement. And I have a class on inaccessibles. I also have a webinar coming up on start lines with Fenzi Dog Sports Academy. So check out all of that stuff at Fenzi Dog Sports Academy and see you there.
Very cool. We are just like 4 weeks into the spring 2025 cohort for the Canine Census Detection Dog Academy. So we're taking enrollments for fall. That will start in September. Let me see. Distraction camp, intentional handling, and hide setting are full. But if you want to get on the wait list, you can do that. Canine Census at Muscatatuck, which is the cadaver dog seminar, still has a couple of spots open. That's the weekend after Memorial Day. You can find that on the Canine Census website. I will be teaching at at the Military Working Dog Symposium. If you are military or law enforcement, you can attend that for free. That's the last weekend of April. And then I will also be at ATK9 in October. So keep an eye out on their website for that as well.
We have a Mondio trial. If you all are going to come to St. Louis, Mondio trial is March 1st and 2nd. And then I'll be in Wisconsin March 8th and 9th. And there's one spot open for that. And there's audit spots open.
Yay. That would be fun. You guys should sign up for that. So we'll.
Did you say Muscatatuck too?
Muscatatuck. Yeah. You'll be at Muscatatuck
I'm so
too.
looking forward to that.
Woo! We have some really cool stuff for Muscatatuck this year. Lots of really, really large source, fresh, large source. So
lots of Q-tips. No.
Yeah.
I love Kayla's joke on that.
I know, right? So thanks everybody for listening. Remember, subscribe, share. That'd be awesome. Go train.
Canine Detection Collaborative.
We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to K9DetectionCollaborative.com. That's K9DetectionCollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.